In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Bless me, Father, for it has been 2 months, 3 days, and 7.5 hours since my last killing. I'm back again. Nintendo Switch killing time. Here we go. Another trying to fix video off a faulty Nintendo Switch. Can we make it better? Or will I make it worse? Let's open it up. See what this one's like. This one's from a business seller, so it should be interesting. Nicely packaged, no risk of damage. Now, in case you haven't watched my videos, take it purely as entertainment. A lot of the things I do in here will be the wrong process, even though I do try my hardest to do things correctly. A lot of the time it will be wrong. So yeah, don't always copy what you see in these videos. Hence the reason I am nicknamed the Switch Killer. But bit by bit, that is starting to pass, because I am starting to have more success with these little things. So now, let me show you what I paid for this, and then we'll turn it on and we'll see what's happening with it. So here it is. It was from eBay, and it just says faulty Nintendo Switch console tablet only for parts or not working. It was up for $59.99. Weird thing is I can't see anything here about a best offer, you know, buy it now, best offer price, but I actually paid $53.99 for it, so pretty good price if I can get it working. So let's go down and show you what's wrong with it. It just says here, faulty Nintendo Switch tablet, screen stays black, green light of death, won't boot, pins bent. So I presume that means a USB-C port, but I don't know whether there's other faults with this as well. So first things first, let's have a little look. Just going to have a look myself off camera, and then I'll show you guys, see if I can see any of the pins are bent. Okay, well, looking through there with my eyes, I haven't used a magnifying glass or anything, but oh, hold on a minute. No, they do look okay, don't they? I'm not really too sure. I need to have a look with a magnifying glass. Let's plug it in and see if anything happens. So I've got a little charger here, the official charger. Well, it goes in nice enough. But there's nothing happening up here. Let's turn it on. And nothing's happening. So maybe the green light of death, would that be when you put it into the dock? In fact, why don't I try that straight away now? Right, let's plug it in and see what happens. Now, I've just checked my switch in there and it works fine. So, right, there's no green light coming up there at all. If you look in here, nothing happening whatsoever. Oh, there we go. It flashed for a second, but it's not there. Right, let's get this over to the blue mat and let's plug in a USB measuring thing to measure if it's drawing any amps at all. Right, okay, I've had a little look through my eyeglass here, and to me the pins look absolutely perfect, so I'm not 100% sure what is meant by bent pins, because also quick look at the Joy-Con rails here and they look alright as well, and obviously that wouldn't stop it from turning on. Let me put it onto macro just to show you. Right, so this is a USB-C port. Now let me angle it this way so you can see those pins there. And they're going all the way to the very end, I think. They look alright, don't they? And let me go up here. As far as I can see, all the pins are there as well. They don't seem to be like lifted upwards. So I really don't know. I'm not too sure. But let's plug it in and see what's happening with it. See if this is trying to charge at all. Oops. Alright, so turn this on here. That's normal. That's normal until you turn it on. Let's try turn it on again. Interesting. Right, okay. It's amazing how quickly you forget. I've done enough of these now that I should know this, but that to me is the normal starting to doubt myself, but I'm pretty sure that is the normal charge until you turn the Nintendo Switch on, and then it goes to 1 point something. But that is like the normal trickle charge in it. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hold down the power button, just in case it's as simple as that. Right, so now it's dropped, isn't it? It's dropped to that. Right, okay, now let's turn it on again. Let me just tap it just to see what it does. Well, it's definitely doing something there, isn't it? Because now it's gone on to that. Right, I'm going to turn it off again, and this time I'm going to hold the power button when I turn it back on. Right, so that says to me that the switch itself thinks it's coming on, but yet it's not jumping up high enough, is it? It's still just 0.4. Right, let's hold down the power button now. See what it does. No, so it went on and off again. Let's just hold down the plus and minus and the power. Now let go of that. Keep on that. No, okay, I don't think anything's happening. Right, let's take it apart and see if we can see anything obvious on the inside. So I'm just going to turn it fully off. There we go. Actually, before I do that, let me plug the charger in the other way round and do the same thing again. Yeah, so it's jumped up to there again. I haven't been looking at the screen closely, but it doesn't look very bright, so I don't think the backlight's coming on, but we'll be able to tell that when we take it apart. Right, let's turn it off again. Right, so we're going to get this thing apart, and what we're going to be doing is using a tri-wing screwdriver to undo the 4 screws at the back, and then just a normal crosshead to undo that one there, couple there, this one here, in the middle of the Joy-Con here, and in the middle of the Joy-Con rail here. And then it should allow us to take the back off, and we'll be presented with a load more crosshead screws. Checking there's no game, and there's no micro SD card. Good news is the screws do not look water damaged, so I'm hoping this time, because the last couple of switches I had were water damaged, so I'm hoping that this one is not going to be water damaged. Right, there is one screw missing here, but that could have just fallen out through normal use. This may not necessarily have been taken apart before. Right, excellent, little bit of dust there, it looks very clean, and I can't see any evidence of any water damage anywhere. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do, just off camera? I'm just going to use the USB cable that I got with the Pro controller, and I'm just going to plug this into my computer just to see if it's recognised as the Nintendo Switch or not. Back in a minute. Right, unfortunately it didn't do anything, and I double checked with this switch and it comes up with Nintendo Switch and makes that kind of USB sound. Now just to show you what it should be charging at, you can see when the switch is turned on, it should be charging at, this one is 1.7 amps. And now let's turn the Nintendo Switch off. And let's see what it charges at. Right, okay, so that's fully off now. Now watch this here. So I plug it in, and it is, there you go, 0.41, which is the same as this one. So basically, it's doing that bit fine, but then when it powers up, it should go to 1.34. So that says to me that maybe the battery is okay, but it's not turning itself on. So it doesn't make a difference now. You know, it should be turning itself on, shouldn't it? Because when it gets power from there. Unless, of course, the USB-C port is faulty, and there's not enough power in the battery. But we can swap that out, can't we? We can put another battery in here and see if it powers up. Right, okay, let's get a move on, let's get this thing apart. I'm just going to have a little look around the place, see if I can see anything obviously wrong with it. I'm pleased to say that there doesn't look to be any evidence of water damage, which is fantastic. That makes such a change. So that's really, really good. Yeah, I think that all looks really nice. So I think first things first, let's pop this battery out. And let's get another battery and see what happens. Right, okay, so I've got this battery here. The connector's a bit faulty on it, but it should be hopefully enough just to see if it works. Now, I've got my multimeter set to DC, and if we go across the outer two contacts, so the outer red and the outer black, you can see it's coming up as 2.5 volts. Let me go on this, which seems very low. Let me go on the inner two, 2.5, and now if I go onto this one here, which as far as I know is a working battery, it's 3.9. Go on the inner two, 3.9. Right, so let's pop this battery into here and see what it does. So it goes that way around. Let's see if it turns on now. No, it's still not turning on. But I'm not convinced about that other battery. So maybe this has more than one fault, I'm not too sure. Let's plug this in and see what it's doing now with the good battery. Right, so 0.41, let's go to turn it on. Mind you, it should turn on automatically, so it's popped out again. It's making a noise now. Yeah, that was making like a humming noise. But is that because I've got the charger in without a battery? Let's try that again. Even if the USB-C port wasn't working, it should still turn on because there's power in that other battery, shouldn't it? It's interesting to hear all that noise. I wonder whether a normal switch does that when you plug it in without the battery. So when the USB-C port is in but there's no battery connected, it was like that high-pitched whining noise. Right, okay. That's not proving anything. There you go, there's that noise now. Just going to see if I can hear where it's coming from. Work it out, and I feel a bit uncomfortable doing that in case I'm going to end up damaging something. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my multimeter, set it to continuity, and I'm going to check around the capacitors around the chips to see if I can see anything. I'm going to start with this chip here. So let's zoom in a bit. Right, okay, well these ones are not short in here, so that says to me that the video chip on the other side might well be okay. Here we go. This one here is shorting, and I'm sure that one shouldn't short. Shall I zoom in more? Right, that's interesting, I don't think I've had that before. Right, okay, that doesn't seem right. There's a tiny little fuse just here. Let me see what's happening with this one. I think is this one here. Right, so the fuse looks to be okay. Let me try around this one here. That looks okay. Interesting. Interesting. I am already lost, if I'm honest with you. Because I would have thought if this chip was faulty, then it would throw the ones out here as well. But all of these are testing fine. It's just this little capacitor here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is a short. So it's 1 ohm or less is a short. So if you have a look at let me zoom out. So I've just got it on ohms now, and I'm going to go on that same capacitor. So watch this. At the bottom of the capacitor, it's reading 0.3 ohms, and at the top it's reading 0.5 ohms. So I mean that is a short. If I was to go to the capacitor here, for example, it's 0.3 ohms, and then the top is, there you go, you see, 6 mega ohms, 4 mega ohms, 3. So that says to me that that capacitor is faulty, but it's probably not the capacitor, it's probably some excuse me, it's probably something that's causing that to go to ground. Now what could that be? Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit more testing on this, because there's no point in me just umming and ahhing throughout the whole video. So I'm just going to go across a few other capacitors just to see if I can see anything obvious. Right, I have got another one up here which is shorting, but maybe it's supposed to. Really, I need to check it out against another working switch. But if you have a look, there's a big one up here. And if you listen, there and there. But yet the others around it are all okay. I think what I need to do is I need to get check against another couple of old boards I have, because it'd be unlikely that every single switch I got has got the same fault. Okay, I did check it on another, well, one of my switch, all the capacitors and stuff has just been removed from there. I think that was the first one I ever did. But I checked it on another one. The chip was removed, but yet the capacitor was still there. And it's not shorting on that one. This one up here looks completely different, you know, this one, and it is shorting on the other one. The other one doesn't even look like a capacitor, so I'm not quite sure what that component is. But let's just concentrate on here for the moment, because that doesn't look right to me. So let's zoom right in and see if we can follow where the traces go. Right, so it's this one here. Again, I can't really get close enough there, can I? So it looks like from this little pad here, it goes to here. I'm just going to look through this little eyepiece here, because this I can see more with it. Right, I think it goes to the 3rd pin along, so it could be the chip that's faulty. So let's just get our ground again, and here we go. Right, so basically I think it goes from here to here to 1, 2, 3, this one here. So now it depends whether this one here should normally be earth or not, because it's not earth ground. I don't know whether this is the ground side or this is the ground side. I can't see where this one goes to. Well, hold on a minute. This is just part of the green area, so that must be just ground. This one bottom here should be ground, because if you have a look at this one, this is just on the ground, and then this one goes to pin, you know, whatever the pin is here. So if I go between here and here, I should get a short. I'm not sure which pin it goes to. It must be this one. There you go. So we should have, I wonder if this chip's gone faulty, because this is always going to be ground anyway. So it's either the capacitor that's gone and it's shorted across to make this ground from here, or more than likely the capacitor's okay and it's this chip possibly that's gone and created a ground to here, which is making this capacitor have a short across it. So I think what we'll do is, let's take this board completely out, because if I put heat on this now, I will probably be able to get the capacitor out, but I might end up melting the other stuff, and I've done that before and I don't want to do that again on this video. So let's take the board out and then I can get to this without melting things. That's interesting. Look, even with the battery connected, it's still making that noise. I'd love to know where that's coming from. I think I'd feel something get hot. I mean, what could possibly make a noise apart from the speakers? Just feeling, see if anything's getting warm. Maybe it will become apparent when I take it all apart. It's definitely squealing from somewhere. Right, okay, we've got everything loose now, so we should be able to take the board out. There we go, and now I can see what's happening around the back of it. Again, I can't see any obvious damage, so I'm just going to put my multimeter to continuity and I'm just going to go across various different capacitors on it just to see if I can see anything that's testing faulty. Okay, obviously I haven't gone across every single one of them, but as far as I can see, on the ones I've tested, which is quite a few of them, they're all just shorted on one side, which is normal. So I think, just from first impressions anyway, I think it's just that one capacitor on the other side, which is looking to be incorrect. But now, when I get that one working, possibly then there might be a huge range of other faults, but maybe not. So I think what I'm going to do to begin with is, I'm going to take off the capacitor, because I think that's the easiest thing to do. So use a tiny bit of flux, take off the capacitor, and I'm going to test the pads underneath. Now, if the pads underneath are also both shorting, because one is going to be shorting, if the one near the chip is also shorting, that says to me it's the chip that's faulty. Again, it might not be, it might be something before that, which is making all the chip faulty, but saying that, let's go across it. No, I mean it's not shorting on every single pin, is it? Ah, hold on, look. It's not shorting anymore. Oh, that's weird. Right, that capacitor that was shorting is now not shorting anymore. Why is that? So something that I've disconnected has made the short go away. Something that I have disconnected has made the short go away. Right, I think we should, let's plug the battery back in. Let's do it on this one here. And let's plug the charger in and see what's happening now. Zoom out a bit, see what happens. Right, 39, let's see if it jumps up. Yes, it's jumped up. There you go. It has jumped up. So that says to me that right now that switch is working. So what's causing it to drag it down to ground? Something that's interesting. I've never had it where something attached to the main board has caused that. That's really interesting. Right now, I wonder if I'm going to cause it damage because I can't actually turn this off. It's just going to be a case of connecting one thing at a time. So I'm going to connect the fan, see what happens, and then connect, for example, the on and off switch, see what happens, connect this thing, see what happens, etc. I mean, it's not going to be this because this is the SD card out the back, but it could be the screen, or it could be the digitizer. I mean, that's just a screen. Very interesting, but that is... oh, do you know what? I'm really liking this one because this is different than all the other faults I've had on the Nintendo Switch. So right, let's unplug this for the time being. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the original battery back in just to see if it's accepting a charge with the original one. Let's unplug that for the moment. Right, so 29, 27. Let's see if it's going to jump up. No, but could it be because the battery is so discharged that it needs to be charged up for ages? It would just be unlikely to have two faults on it, the battery and the something, you know, some other thing as well. Right, so see, it's not doing it. It's not doing it on that battery there. But that's all right, because we can do our testing. We can do our testing with this one to begin with. Right, okay. So let's connect up this part here. Just noticed on that bit there, it looks a bit different. If you have a look in the middle there, something doesn't quite look right. Can you see when you look along? Seems to be a bit of a gap, doesn't there? Oh, but when I put the lid down, it's okay. No, it definitely looks different there. That's in. Let's plug a few more things in. That's the fan plugged in, and the let's do the on and off switch as well. So now we haven't got the screen connected or the backlight, but we have got quite a few other things connected up. Let's see what happens now. Right, 39, let's see if it goes to 0 and then turns itself on. Yeah, 0. There you go, 136. So it looks like it's okay with those things. So now let's plug in the screen and the backlight. I'm wondering if it's something to do with the screen, maybe the backlight or something's gone faulty. So let's unplug that. I'm just going to disconnect the battery again. Part of me is wondering whether it was just a case of disconnecting everything, fix the fault. But that would annoy me a little bit because I would be thinking, what would... I'd be thinking, can it come back again? In fact, maybe I can test on the multimeter now for a short. Yeah, there you go, short's back. So now let's disconnect the screen and see if it goes. Yes. Can you see that now? So when the screen's disconnected, the short's gone. But then when I connect up the screen, the short comes back. So now, right, okay, that is interesting. That is interesting, and it wasn't the backlight, it was this one here. Let's connect up the backlight and see if that makes a difference. No. So you can see it's gone now. Right, I won't bother clamping it down. Let's see what happens now. There you go, so it's the screen. The screen's causing that short there. So now if we plug this in, I wonder, was the screen the thing that was making a noise? Because it did appear to be coming from all over. So maybe it was the screen that was making that noise then. Remember, the screen's connected now. So it's not dropping to zero, you see. Normally it drops to zero and then powers up after that. Excellent. Right, let's try another screen. It doesn't necessarily mean the screen's faulty. It could be something that when it's connected to the screen, that it's not liking it. But no, this is good because we've got something to go on now. And I can hear that noise again. Okay, let's stop now. Right, let's get another screen. So I'm going to have to take all this, I'm going to have to take it all apart. Luckily I have got a screen here. I don't know if this one works. As far as I know it should do, but it could have been off one of those switches where I had nothing out of. But I have got this one here. This is a water damaged screen, so it works, but it's kind of got a slight patch here, and when it's been left on for a while you can get like a bit of a ghosting effect on it, but it did used to work. So let's try to connect this up. And then if it works, I can actually put it in a different case. I would just like to sort of prove that it's one thing faulty rather than just swapping over the case, which will swap over the on and off button and everything. But once I've proved that, I'm happy then. I'm happy then to, you know, swap over the whole case. No, look, it's shorting when that screen's connected as well. So why is that? This is confusing me now. Why is that? Right, do you know what I'm going to do? I am going to put it in this case here, and I'm going to leave the screen disconnected, and I'm going to dock it to see if the switch itself works without the screen connected, because it will give me a bit more info to go on. But it's confusing me now why the short goes when I connect up that. Does that mean that this chip is faulty still, or does it mean that it's something else that's causing the fault? So obviously when the pins go through to the screen, they're coming back and they're causing a short, but it's not the screen that's causing it. It's something else. That's a bit of a shame. I thought it might be just a screen. But it certainly makes it more interesting. It just means that there'd be less chance of me fixing it, be less chance of me proving what the fault is. Saying that, what am I doing? I've proved it's not the screen, haven't I, by swapping it over. So I might as well just put everything back into the Nintendo Switch again that it came with, rather than swapping out parts, because I've put a screen that I know works in it and it's still causing that short. Oh, have a look here. God, hold on a minute. I've just knocked that thing off. I was about to say I've seen corrosion. There's corrosion on this bit here. So there's water damage up here, which has probably leaked onto something up here, which is causing the short into earth over here. But now look, I've just knocked this thing out of it, which is a pain. I have real problems with this connector and all the switches I work on. It looks like this one's no different. Now I wonder, can I salvage this? That side's still on. I'm going to have to use my little eyepiece here. Then I'll show you the water damage properly. Right, I've got it in, but I've got a feeling when I bend that down, there you go, it's out again. Hate this connector. I know I've said this before in other videos, but other ribbon cables you can undo and do up 1,000 times and you don't seem to get any bother. This thing here is so weak. You've only got to put it in a few times and it seems to break, and unfortunately when that goes, the switch itself is useless. Now I'm still probably okay at the moment because I can put this in. I put a bit of Captain tape to keep it in, but if I now bend any of these pins, then I've had it. There you go, that thing's off. Right, so that is not going to be going back on, but it doesn't mean that I won't be able to get this switch working, but it now means that when I go to put this in here, if I bend any of the pins, then I've kind of had it. But if you have a look here, can you see there's signs of corrosion? There. So it looks like something has been spilt down inside this. I'm just going to have a look with the eyepiece again right in here. There's definitely corrosion in there. And also one of the pins looks like it's been lifted up a lot, and that wasn't me. I haven't put anything down there. Right, okay. Well, there's something more to go on, so what I need to do is I need to look more closely here to see if there is any signs of corrosion. Maybe I just need to clean it with IPA. But I'm still going to go ahead and I'm going to do what I'm going to do with the dock. See if that makes any difference or not. Now to begin with, I am just going to use this battery here. And then I can plug in the other battery if needs be. Right, out of curiosity, let's just plug that in and see if we have anything here. See, I think this battery is completely discharged. There you go, the light's on. The back light's on. Okay, you can't see it, but if you have a look closely in here, and the backlight wasn't on before, yeah, it's all lit up in here now. You can sort of see right in here, it's lit up. Can't really show. There you go. Can you see that now through my fingers? It's bright. Excellent. Right, it's really starting to get somewhere now. So I'm going to put this on the proper dock with the faulty battery and see what happens. Let me get my camera set up over there. Right, okay, let's see what happens now. Okay, I can see the backlights come on. There's nothing happening on screen. Right, let me get the other battery in it and let's see what it does with the other battery. I am going to have to... I can't be bothered to redo all the ribbon cables and stuff. I'm actually going to take the battery out of that one. Mind you, I'm not going to have enough room to fit it in there, am I? Maybe I should just swap the batteries over because that battery's definitely low. Right, I might as well film this because it might be useful. So this is the suspected faulty battery, but it might not be faulty. It might just need one big charge. So I'm going to use a little iPhone repair kit. And I've got some plastic tools here to try and pry it open. I'm going to add a little bit of heat, so I'm going to get the hairdryer on it just to try to soften up the adhesive behind it. And then I can get this one here. This one hasn't got a great connector on it, but as far as I know the battery is still okay. So again, I can put a bit of tape over it to keep it in place. So I'm just going to heat it up, not too much. can kind of hear the adhesive breaking, but this is just... I'm gonna have to use a metal tool. I didn't want to use a metal tool on it, but the other ones are too weak. You've got to be careful now, because I could end up piercing this battery, which could cause a fire. If you're wondering what all that noise is, it's really, really raining here, thunder and lightning and everything. Now I'm just breaking these, look, they're just bending. Right, here it comes. Oh, that was horrible. Right, hopefully this one will come out a lot easier. There we go, that did not come out easy whatsoever, but it should be okay. Slightly bent up at the end there. Right, let's put it in here. Okay, so this is all the faulty switch now, apart from the battery. And the screen has been disconnected. So let's see what happens now if we go to turn it on. Let's see if the... right, so the backlight's on. I wonder now whether we can hear the touchscreen. Hold on. There we go, listen. There, so there's definitely life there. Very quiet though. Right, let's get this onto the TV and let's see what's happening. Okay, so as you can see the fan is spinning, so the switch is definitely alive right now. Let's see if it can dock. Yeah, green light's on, fantastic. Now, there we go. It's asking me to, oh look at this is interesting. So it's been completely reset. How would it have been reset? How would it have been reset if it was broken? This is like it's never been used. Unless of course it was water damage from like the factory or something. But I don't really think, I don't know. Right, let's connect up a couple of Joy-Cons. That's strange though, isn't it? To have that. You only get that when you reset the Nintendo Switch. So let's take this out. There we go, did you hear that? Excellent. So now I should be able to take those off. Starting to make progress. There we go. English. Europe. Right, I'm just going to connect it to my... well, actually, I can do that later, can't I? I can't bother to do this at the moment. Setup complete. Right, okay. Let's pop a game card in and see if anything's happening. Yeah, it recognises it. Excellent. So basically, I need to find out why it's shorting when it goes onto the screen there. I mean, even as it stands now, for me this switch is well worth paying the £50 or whatever it was, £54, because it gives me options, for example, to make like I don't know, you know, when I do my silly little things where I make this, that and the other, hence my Switch Mini here. I can always do something where I can dock this using a portable dock, and then, like, for example, connect it to a projector or a larger screen, sort of like a Switch XL. So for me, I would have paid £54 for it anyway. So right now, I'm really happy. It's just that obviously if I can get the screen to work, then that will be a bonus. And I'm annoyed that I've broke that little connector on it, but at the same time I'm happy that there's a bit of water damage at the top there, because that says to me that maybe one of the components there has gone faulty, and maybe if I just clean it with IPA it might get rid of that short. I think it's unlikely. What I'm worried about is I'm thinking that maybe water has got underneath the actual screen connector. And if you remember my son's iPhone 6S, do you remember it was damaged underneath the actual connector, the camera connector? And I'm thinking that's what's happened here. And the chances of me removing that connector are going to be really very, 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 very slim. But still, I'm going to take the board out and I'm going to give it a good clean with IPA just to see if we can get some life out of this screen. So let's get this back over to the blue mat. So I'm going to disconnect the battery and I'm going to take this board out again, and I'm going to have a real close look along here on both sides to see if I can see what's causing this short. Okay, so I'm just going to do my testing now on the board. You can see I've got the faulty screen connected, and with nothing else connected, no on and off switch, no fan, no nothing, this capacitor here is shorting. And when we plug it out, unplug it, it's not. So I need to find out which of the ground pins on here to see if they're shorting to the ones next to them. Yeah, so it's interesting. So there is actually quite a few grounds on there. So I'm going to get some IPA and I'm going to give it all a really good clean. The problem is I've got to be so careful now because I haven't got this top on it, so it's going to be really easy for me to short these pins out. And if I muck up these pins here, then 100% this is only ever going to be a switch that can be docked. While I'm here, I'm also going to be cleaning out this card reader as well because it's in pretty bad condition. You can see up by the headphone jack as well. I have got spare ones of them though. Well, look at that. It looks like the short is gone. So I've got the cable in there now, and now listen. And nothing on top. Amazing. Right, I'm not going to tempt fate. I'm going to put it back together as it is, because if I keep cleaning this, then it might end up damaging it. I mean, maybe I've knocked some pin or something, and it's not going to work now. Do you know, I'm just going to look through this. But it's definitely not shorting now. Well, I mean, it all looks pretty good. Let's put it back together and see what's happening with it. I'm worried I can hear these pins bending. I hate doing this one here. It always goes wrong on me. It's not wanting to go in. Right, I'm going to zoom in and show you the problem. Even though I think I've now fixed the fault, I can't get the ribbon cable in because there's pins in the middle which are stopping it from going in. So you can see that this side's in and this side's in, but the ones in the middle are now not allowing it to go in. No, I've got bent pins. Ah, you know what? I can't tell you how much I hate that ribbon cable connector. I think this has happened to me now on 3 Nintendo Switches, all because of this connector here. Let me put it on macro to show you what I mean. Right, so if you have a look there, can you see what's happened? These are all okay, but here, let me get this little thing here. There, that pin has been right the way across there. So I'm going to get a needle. Now I'm going to have to do this off camera because I can't film it and try to do it at the same time. But I'm going to get a needle and I'm going to see if I can work out exactly where that pin is supposed to be to try to get it back in its place. But really, this happened to me before and it wasn't successful. I think eventually, the pin broke and then it didn't work at all. I'm so disappointed because I believe that I have fixed the problem because it's not shorting anymore, but unless I can get this in, I can't actually prove it. You can even see it looks different around this area here. So it might be one more. I mean, is the pin coming across from there? I don't even know how these are actually, I don't know how these are done. Right, okay, I'll come back to this in a little while. Wow, amazingly, I think I managed to do it. So I've been using a tiny needle, and what happened was 3 of these ones at the bottom, and as far as I know, the bottom don't actually do anything apart from put pressure upwards onto the other ones, because all the contacts on the ribbon cable are actually up the top. If you have a look there, they're all up the top. There's nothing at the bottom. So what I did is they looked to be, 3 of them looked to be kind of going off to one side. Apologies for the noise, my son's playing Fortnite in the background. 3 of them looked to be off to one side. Let that just focus in. There we go. And what I did is, it was really hard to do, but I managed to get the needle and one by one move them back into their home at the bottom. So now I think that they're okay, but my worry is when I put it back together again, they're gonna move. But let's see if it goes in now. See, what I'm tempted to do is put it in like this and maybe just break this bottom bit of the switch, because normally that bit has to go in first like that. But it's so hard to get this bend to go into that because there's so little room. You see what I mean? Like, I could do it all day long like this up in the air. That will be absolutely fine. So I'm gonna give it a go one more time like it should be, and if it doesn't go in, then I think I'm gonna break the bottom of the case there. That's if I can straighten them up again a second time. I might be tempting fate now. No, it's struggling again. I got it in there, but now look what's happened. It's pushed this pin through the back. Can you see that one there? So I don't know now whether I'm going to be able to push that back through or not. No, it's pushing the whole lot. It's pushing the whole lot out. I wonder whether that would be just a, imagine if that was just a ground one and not needed. In fact, would I be able to test that? Ooh, well, it's short in there. I wonder whether that is just a ground one, because, I mean, maybe it's short in there because it's knocked out of place. Do you know what, I'm gonna run with it. I'm going to connect it all up just to see, because there was quite a few grounds on there. And then I wouldn't have to worry about that one because the rest of it is in there. And if I take that one out now, there's a very good chance that I might not get that working again. See, if it's a ground one, and if it's already got quite a few other grounds, then it might not necessarily be needed. Okay, let's plug it in and see what happens. What do you think? Yes or no? On this one, am really unsure. Right, I haven't put any screws or anything in, and I haven't put any tape on it. Here we go. Yes, there it is. Let's see if it's going to do the rest of it. There we go. Fantastic. It works. So it was just a ground one. Now let me gently put it down here. I haven't got the heat pipe or anything in it yet. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. Now what happened there? Did I, has it gone off? That was short-lived. Oh, I'm worried now. What happened there? Nothing would have shorted. Was it when I went to do the touchscreen? I can't remember now. Let's try again. Right, so we are in here. Let's just keep it at that angle. Backlight came on, but now there's no Nintendo. Let's see if these are syncing up. Yeah, that syncs up. That syncs up. Okay, I can hear it, but there's no display. Right, so we're in. Okay, so it's not broken, it's just the display again. So is it to do with the connection at the back? Oh, that's annoying. It worked for a second or two, didn't it? And now it's not working. Maybe that pin is important then. I wonder, have I blown something now? I don't really know where to go from here. Oh, what a disappointment. That was really disappointing because it came on there, didn't it? Okay, it blew there because that came out, so that was my fault there. I heard a pop. Basically, I went to push the pin, and when I pushed the pin, they popped out. Right, okay, let me concentrate more on this ribbon cable because we were very close there. Do you know what I'm going to do actually? First of all, I'm going to watch back the video, and I just want to see if it went when I did the touch screen or not. Okay, I watched the video back. It's amazing how you forget when you're doing it, but basically I did do that to the touchscreen and it was working. It was when I went to put it down, I think when it went to that angle there, it then, well, that way, that angle there, it stopped from there on. So it's definitely to do with the, it must be to do with the angle of this. It must have just kind of put a bit of weight on here and then knocked it off. So that's not too bad. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take it all apart. I'm going to see what's happening with this pin, see if I can fix it. And then I'll try to put it all back together again. I'm just going to be fiddling with this connector here again with my little needle to try and get that pin back in properly. Okay, amazingly, I think I've got the white thing on the connector back on. So, there's a chance now I might be able to get the ribbon cable back in. I managed to get the pins, I managed to get that pin back in. Let me zoom in and show you. Right, so apologies I couldn't film it, it's just that I'm using this tiny little needle and I'm using my ×3 magnification eye thingy here. So basically it's about this far away, it's like a couple of inches away from my eye, well that's what it feels like anyway. So there'd be no point in filming it because all you're going to see is the back of my head. But now if you have a look, again what happened was the bottom pin, so the bottom pin's connected to the top pin and it had basically pushed the ribbon cable out. And the reason it had been pushed out that way is because it was kind of a little bit upwards, and then when I put the ribbon cable in, it's pushing on the bottom pin, which is pushing it out this way down here. So now I'm hoping that that's going to go back in. Again, I'm unsure whether to break the bottom of this USB here to get it in, or to try and do it properly. I'm going to give it one more go at doing it properly, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to break the bottom here so I can just put it in this way, which I would feel much easier doing. Right, so here we go. Time to get it back together again. Right, here we go. Let's zoom out a bit. Let's see what's going to happen now. Brilliant. Yes. Oh, good, good, good. Come on, do the rest of it. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Hey, there we have it. Let's just check the touchscreen. Yep, that's working. Let me just check everywhere. Yeah, that's working everywhere. Brilliant. Right, okay. What an interesting one. Now, I don't want to talk too much yet because I want to get this back together. So I'm going to put Kapton tape over that connection there. I'm tempted even to put glue gun, hot glue gun on it, you know. I wonder, would that... No, that's not going to cause any damage. The only thing is, though, it means it's going to be hard to get to again in the future. No, I'm going to put Kapton tape on it because it really does feel like it's kind of in place now. And I'm not going to go crazy with it, but look, remember before? It knocked itself off, and now it's not. So let's shut it down properly, put Kapton tape over it, make it all nice and secure. I need to put more thermal paste on it. I'm going to wipe off all the old stuff and put fresh thermal paste on it. And then I think it will be fixed. I have to check the docking again, and I have to check the micro SD card. Right, so I've got my little Kapton tape. I'm going to put it across here. Basically, I'm just going to put it everywhere along here, as I don't care what it looks like. It's all going to be covered up. It's not going to cause any harm. Now, I am actually pleased with how this has gone in, but I'm worried that if this switch was ever to get dropped in the future, then this is definitely going to be weaker than it was because the end of the white bits are no longer there. Well, they're in one side, but not the other side. So can you see it? Like, this is the bit they hinge on. It's in there, but that side's very weak. This side's gone completely, so it wouldn't take much to knock that out. So I'm going to get the Kapton tape in, and I hope it goes in well. I hope it doesn't kind of wobble and fall out. So let me do that before I do anything else. Just going to start with a tiny bit and just put more and more in there. But let me just disconnect the battery in case I short something. Right, so that's one bit in, and now I'm just going to keep adding to it. Happy with that now. You can see I've just put loads around there. I know it doesn't look great, but as long as it holds it in there, then I'm happy. So now I'm going to do the thermal paste and put everything back together. Just going to put a bit over the battery connector as well because that isn't the best. Right, thermal paste time. Now everybody can have the normal big argument about did I use too much or too little. It's amazing because when I read the comments there's as many saying that I use too much as too little. So I still really don't know where I stand, but I'm just going to go with the pea size amount again, like I've been told many times, and this is what I'm using, this Arctic MX4. So let's clean the old stuff off to begin with. Let's zoom in for this bit so we can all have a nice argument. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put, because I need it in the middle of this bit here tonight, this is where I actually need it. So I'm going to put a little bit here. Hold on now, hopefully this won't come zooming out. Let me put it here so I don't short anything out because I've got the battery connected now. Right, okay, there. I would say that that is half a pea, and then I'm going to put the other half of a pea here. The problem with peas are they vary in size. So there. Now, that is what I'm doing, and hopefully between both of them they'll spread out and make a nice even. There we go, go on now. Right, okay, so that's that. Let's screw it down, and then I need to clean this off at the top, and I'm going to put it on the top as well, even though it all looks, I don't think this switch has had much use at all, if any use. And let's put a squiggle up here. There we go. Hopefully that will be enough. Sometimes if you're struggling getting this on, just take off that little sticky pad and then try it. Then you can put the sticky pad on again afterwards. There we go, that clips into place there. You can sort of feel it go clunk in. That's back on. Let's see if I've got a screw for the missing one down there. Right, I found one. So now I've got to get myself SD card, pop it in there and see if that is doing what it needs to do. Okay, I've got the micro SD card from my switch, so I don't actually want to put any data on it, I just purely want to see that it's recognised. Okay, it's already on. There we go, excellent. The micro SD card is being used by another switch, blah 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 blah, so that means it is recognising it. Right, let's turn this off and bring it over to the TV, make sure it's docking, and then I'll put a game in and we'll see if it's working or not. Okay, here goes, so let's turn it on. See, it's nice and loud now. Right, pop it in there. Green light comes on, screen's gone off, which is good, and now hopefully it will come up there in a couple of seconds. Hey, fantastic, there we have it. Right, let's just make sure the Joy-Cons are working from a distance. Yeah, that's synced up. And there we go, let's put a bit of volume on the TV. That's it. Now let's try a different game card. The game card could not be read. Ooh. Let's try that again. No. Right, let's go back to Street Fighter. Remember, there was corrosion in that game card. No. Okay. Right, what I'm going to do is, that might not be too bad. Remember, I was poking around in there with the brush. I'm going to basically bring it back over to the blue mat, and I'm just going to have a look closely and see if I can line up those contacts on the inside. Maybe I've knocked one of them slightly out of place, because if you look at the game card, you see there's actually quite a few contacts here. So if you look at the first one here, you think there's just 3, but it's not, there's 4. So there's 3 different lines, and that one is broken there. So if you have a look, there's loads of different contacts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there's actually 16 contacts there. So in this thing here, it will actually have 16 kind of fingers to touch onto each of these. So let's see if I can get them lined up. Right, okay, so if you look closely in here now, you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look at number 7. That definitely looks corroded, doesn't it? So the thing is, it was working before, but maybe I've slightly disturbed something when I put the IPA down there. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be getting the tweezers and just trying to hit each of them, try to sort of spring the corrosion off it. Worst case scenario, if I can't do it, then what I'll have to do is just change it over, which isn't the end of the world. I'm pretty sure I have got them. I'm pretty sure I've got them from one of the broken switches, and you don't have to have the one from your actual switch, so any one will do. It's not married, I mean, it's not married to the main board. Right, so let's just do that. But unfortunately I can't see what I'm doing here, so again I'm going to be doing this off camera with this here because I just can't see using the camera, it's just too dark. Right, I've been working on this for around about half an hour now and I'm not getting anywhere. I thought I would just be able to adjust them because I mean it was working originally and all I did was got this brush in it and you know, moved it around the place, but I don't know what's happening, but it just keeps coming up with the same thing all the time. So if I put that in there, it would just pause and then it will come up with that there. So I'm unfortunately going to have to take it apart again. Now I've had a look and the only spare one I've got is this one from a water damage switch, so this doesn't look too good either. So I'm going to give this a clean and pop it in there, see if it works. If not, maybe what I'll have to do is unsolder this from the one inside and see if I can adjust those pins to make them perfect and clean them up. But what I've been doing is I've even been getting sandpaper and pushing it in here, and basically I won't do it on this one, but moving it in and out to try to roughen up the corrosion to get rid of it, but it's still not working. So I don't know if it is a pin alignment issue or whether there's something faulty in this particular one, I don't know. I'm hoping now that where this contact's on the board, there's not a fault on the board there, because again, water damage in this area up here, I don't know. But unfortunately I have to take this apart again to pop that one in and see if it works or not. Right, okay, this other one, the water damage one, is working. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to clean it, because maybe by cleaning it I may end up damaging it. So I'm just going to put this back together with that other one in, and maybe another day I might have a look at this one and see what's wrong with it. I'm just going to test the touchscreen again, because remember now I've changed this here and this is the connection for the touchscreen. I also need to check the headphone jack as well. Excellent, right, that's working. Now let's close this up, and also I'm just going to test the headphone jack as well. Okay, the headphones are working just fine, so if you have a listen here, just balance that across there, hopefully you hear it. There we go. Right, let's close this all up. There we have it all back together, and I can see that the game card is working. So what I'll do is I'm going to end this on a bit of gameplay, but let's just recap what was wrong with it. So basically it was completely dead to begin with, and it's because it was being dragged down to ground on that little connector for the LCD display. Once I cleaned it up with some IPA, then it started to work again. I had problems with the connector because that little connector is a complete and utter nightmare, but essentially all it needed was cleaning off that little connector and also the battery. Now I don't believe that this battery is faulty. I've put maybe faulty because I think it just needs to be charged up again. I think with lithium batteries, once they go below a certain level, then they're not happy to be charged, just like a safety thing. But a few people have told me if I was to get a charge into it, then this was on another water damage switch, then it would probably start working again. So what I did is I bought one of these off eBay. I haven't tested it out yet, but it's a USB, it's a mini USB in, and then can you see it's out plus, out minus. I need to read up about it because I don't know what B plus and B minus is. But if I can rig up something where I can get the wires from here to go to the red and the black one, if I can get a charge into this, I personally think that this battery probably will work again. But I wouldn't risk doing this inside just in case this was ever to go on fire. I would do it under a covered bit outside, and then if it went on fire, it doesn't really matter. You know, I'll put it on some slate or something like that. But yeah, I can't see how a little bit of water damage on this area here could end up making the battery itself faulty. I think that it's just got so discharged, it's not liking it doesn't want to be charged again because it thinks it's faulty. So there we go, it was just water damage again. Bit of a shame that I had to replace this, because the one in there, this was working, but then I tried to clean it, and then after cleaning it, it went faulty, which is really weird. So when I have a bit more time, I might try to unsolder these bits here and then really clean up the pins, or it could be an issue with the connector down here, I'm not too sure. But either way, I'm happy now that the switch is working, and for me it was an enjoyable one because it was something different. I definitely proved the fault with that capacitor, and every time I connected the screen, the capacitor shorted. Every time I took it away, it went. So obviously it was that screen connector there that was dragging it down to ground. So what a lovely, lovely fix. So let's bring this into a different room now and finish up on a little bit of gameplay. Right, so let's just show a little bit of gameplay. Now, I've been looking at the screen and it looks perfect. I can't see any scratches on it, and even the back itself looks good as well. I've just given it a quick rub over with a cloth. It looks to be in very, very good condition. Volume, everything works fine. But let's just lower it down. Yeah, so I've only been playing it for about 5 or 10 minutes, but to me it feels absolutely fine. So there we go, what a really enjoyable fix. And strange thing is, with the Nintendo Switches, I'm not getting bored with them because every single one seems to be a slightly different problem. I really like this one here because it was a completely different problem, and it's just so nice to be able to find the fault and then prove what's causing that fault rather than just kind of changing out a random chip and hoping for the best. It was lovely. I do like it when I can actually 100% know what the fault is. So yeah, that is it. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more Trying to Fix videos. Take care, bye now.